Hello, friends. So happy to have you here with us today at Radical Joy. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, we're glad you're here. Each Wednesday, I'm here with you talking to myself about things that weigh on my mind and heart, hoping if you're dealing with something similar, we can adjust both our perspectives as you listen. The more people I meet and the more places I go, the more I realize how important it is to make people aware of the fact that there is no shame in enjoying the parts of your life that are incredible. It's time for some radical joy. And this week, the three fingers pointing back at us are for helping. And today I'm really excited because I have been so fortunate to meet so many incredible people in my life along my journey, whether that's traveling or working or living or whatever. And today I have one of my most treasured and probably the one that's hung around the most since my New York days. She and I worked together at Ellen's Stardust Diner in New York City on Broadway, serving tables and tunes and having an incredible time. Mary Carter is a performer, music therapist. She is administrative maven of one of the largest construction companies in the world. And she basically makes sure that everything she touches turns to gold for those who employ her and those who enjoy her. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to Mary Carter. Hello, Mary.
Hi, James.
It's so wonderful. I love this new video element that we have going with the podcast because I am here in t-shirt and glasses, and Mary looks absolutely fantastic. She's got this gorgeous bun. She's got her shoulder brusher earrings and her scoop neck delicious, and she looks absolutely fantastic. And it is so nice to have you here with us on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to spend some time with you. James was, I think, the very first friend I made when I moved to the States. I came from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I drove a 1987 Oldsmobile and pulled U-Haul trailer and set up shop in what used to be called Bushwick. I think it's now East Williamsburg. And yeah, I landed at Ellen's Stardust Diner and I met James, and we both lived off the J train, and not a lot of people did at the time.
Gosh, a million. What did you
And
do
yeah,
with that Oldsmobile? What happened to that?
so I actually had two musician friends from Regina, Saskatchewan. I actually got um I was like, how can I throw this word in there for James? And you just set me up. Um
Got you.
so so I did. I moved to New York, and I had a couple of musician friends, and they helped me drive, and I told them, if you would move me to New York and you help me drive, and the three of us would take turns, you can just take my car and drive it home. I don't need it in New York. I won't need a car. So we did. We drove 3 days straight.
Oh my gosh.
And they helped me move into this little apartment, and then they took my car and drove on back to Regina.
By the way, I want to make sure that we clarify Regina is how you spell the city from whence Mary hails. Okay. Just so we're clear.
Yes.
Yes. And one of my favorite sayings of her hometown is, it is the city that rhymes with fun. There. I've said it. I feel better. We can move on and move forward.
We can get that out of the way.
Right. Sorry.
We've covered it. Well, you know what was funny? So when I moved to New York, and so I'm actually from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, but Regina is the capital of Saskatchewan. And so when I moved to New York and I was trying to be a Broadway star, everybody puts on their little show. So I got the Duplex, I think, was the place at the time to do your cabaret. And remember, you would like hire a band and try to get the managers to come out. And so I called it the Regina Monologues, because this was 18 years ago. And at the time, the show, The Vagina Monologues, was really popular. So I'm like, this is hilarious. Like, I'm so smart. I'm so funny. This is perfect. And so I made up all these little flyers to pass out, and all the Americans would read it and they said, the Regina Monologues? And I'm like, no, it's Regina. It's funny. And nobody got it.
And this is why Mary and I became such close friends, because had I known, I would like, that is genius wordplay. Thank you so much for this. Yeah. 'Cause you're doing anything and everything you can in New York just to get noticed, because it's so incredibly hard to get your friends or anybody out to these cabarets. You work so hard, you spend so much money just to get the exposure that you think you need to reach your Broadway dreams, and, you look out at the room and there's, like, 4 people there. But by golly, it's a great show. It's a great show. Make sure you tip your waiters on the way out.
2-drink minimum.
Minimum.
And it better not be hot water with lemon or they won't like you.
Exactly. No heated lemonade in this cabaret, thank you.
Oh
Dr
god, that was a lifetime ago. I'm thinking that I'm aging myself, and I'm okay with
Yeah,
that because I am
sure.
very confident. I just had a birthday and I'm ready for this.
Right.
That had to be 18 years ago, right?
Yeah, easily.
I've known
Because
you for almost half of my life.
wow, that is crazy to me to think. Because whenever I met Mary, it was just like, okay, so what is this? What do we do? Like we were serving and chasing dreams and doing the thing. Because Mary's coming from Saskatoon, I'm coming from Alabama, and we meet in basically what everyone else thinks is the center of the universe to do this lofty dream. And quite frankly, we figured out a new dream basically while we were there and went after that instead. Because that's part of the reason why we're here today. Is just making sure folks like, okay, the thing that we're talking about is helping. For whatever reason, I thought that would probably be the best theme that you and I could talk about today, because you were a huge help to me. Not were are then, because it's really nice to have a person in your life that is there to make sure they're traveling a parallel path, and they continue to encourage you as well as keeping you realistic about the goals that you're setting. And I think it was really interesting that not many people can toe that line as well as I think you did in my life, Mary. And so, just to make sure that we have a sort of like a line to lead us through our discussion today, to make sure that people are listening. They're like, hey, not everyone can do this for you. And that's okay too. You need a lot of different people in your tribe to make sure that these kinds of things feed into what it is you're trying to accomplish. And whenever you find somebody who can, you hold on to that person, not too tightly because you don't want to choke them. And you still want to make sure that they realize that they're important to you and that you keep them as part of your orbit. So you continue working along that, checking in with yourself, changing your goals if they need that evolution, sharing it with your closest to make sure that they can continue to support you and keep your feet on the ground while your head are in the clouds. So thank you for
Oh, it's been my pleasure to grow
that.
with you. I feel like you've seen me go from such a naive baby into whatever this is.
The boss babe you
Which
are. Oh
I
my
haven't
gosh.
decided yet.
So many amazing changes, and that's what I love about being your friend, because like you're Madonna level reinvention. Like you continue, like there, we started off as performers and then we put that aside for a hot second because life gets in the way, or reality, sets in, and you're like, okay, I need to focus on this for right now. And you moved to Georgia and I moved to Nashville and North Carolina and Vegas and all these things. And through all of this, you continue to be a newer and better version of yourself. And I love watching it, because it's one of those things you're like, well, now I'm going to be, I'm work at the construction company, and I am, they say no one's irreplaceable. I'm like, I beg to differ. I said, I think that she's probably pretty instrumental in making sure that things run smoothly there. Could they replace her? Yeah. Would they want to? No, because they're smart. And they know that it would be easier just to keep her around because, yeah, she's kooky, but in the best way possible.
Yeah, they're like, I remember when my boss hired me and he told me he went and told the department. So after New York, I got a degree in music therapy
Yeah.
because again, I wanted to use my music to help others. And I did that for a while, and I struggled to make the kind of living that I wanted, and the consistency that I wanted. And it just made it hard for me to help other people when I was, you know, trying to run a private practice and waitressing on the side and singing church gigs and all those things. And so I just, what I saw as a sellout at the time, I was like, well, heck, I could go be somebody's secretary. I just want health care. um, turned into something so much more. But I do remember him telling the department, he goes, "So we hired a music therapist. I think she's gonna be a good fit." And they were like, "What?" So I work for a general contractor. So
Mhm.
we build data centers and airports and universities, and I started off as an administrative assistant. And through that, I've grown into roles to helping run our charity division and helping with the training programs and all sorts of different things. And it was just so many of those things that I thought was I think along the way I felt like a sellout at the time, but realized that it was like the step that got me to where I needed to be the next one, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. And I love that you said that because it just sort of like feeds into so many of the things that we say. Here, I have said so many times, we've said with guests, it's like your perception of where you are, it makes all the difference. Like you could say, well, quote unquote sold out on my dreams to do this because I wanted health care. And you could have settled for that position. What you did was take that position as a starting point and it completely blossomed into this other thing that now you get to help so many more people with the resources that this enormous company has to offer. And you can direct it in these avenues. Had you just been the secretary, that wouldn't have been this, but that's also not your personality. This is just the starting point. My foot is in the door, and now it's time to make some magic happen. Yeah, and you crack the whip, and you do the things, and you make sure that everybody catches this infectious enthusiasm that you have. You're like, we have a responsibility, and we have the privilege, and we have the resource to make all these things happen. And God bless them for being smart enough to see it like, super, Mary's got this. She's our angel. She's going to take care of this and make sure that it goes the proper avenues. And now you're doing this where it started as a secretary, and now you are the helping hand of the pro bono branch of this enormous, fantastic company that works in one of the busiest cities in the world. I'm like, yeah, Mary, that's how you do it. Thank you.
well, I think it also it 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 turned into something so much more than I ever imagined. I did it out of desperation. Um, I I loved music therapy. I loved what I was doing. I was working with children who had disabilities, and I used music to help them achieve communication goals or motor goals, all these and I loved it. It was wonderful, and I was so passionate about it. And as it is with many helping professions, it was very difficult to make the kind of living that I wanted. There were not a lot of jobs that could offer because a lot of them were schools and hospitals and nursing homes, and to be able to pay for a music therapist, which in some states you can get reimbursement for, in some places you can't. So it just kind of becomes that extra thing. And I struggled being a single woman and having to pay all my bills and wanting to do the fun extra things and travel, and it was a struggle. And so I felt like I didn't have my feet under me. And I got into a place where I questioned my worth, because as hard as I was working at being a music therapist and seeing wonderful changes and doing things that I knew were valued, my bank account didn't reflect it. Just, and it could have if I'd continued to grow, but I it was a struggle for me. And so when I did this, it allowed me the opportunity to help so many more people. I think I got so fixated on I have to be a music therapist to help people.
Mhm.
I wanted to be I grew up wanting to be a Broadway star because I wanted to be a performer, and I thought that was my option. Well, you move to New York and you become a Broadway star. Like, if you're not doing it full time, like, are you really doing it?
Yep.
And And I kinda gave up on a little of that because I'm like, it wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted. It was not what I thought it would be. I wasn't happy. I felt that there was so much bustle that it just really all became about me. It became so self-centered. You have to be your own, like, supporter, and it's so cutthroat, and it's like, you can't be I couldn't be friends with any other 5'4" girl with brown hair and brown eyes because we're going to be fighting for the same part, right? Like I had a
Right.
blonde friend, I had a redhead friend, I had many ethnic friends. Like it was like you it was such a strange life for me, and it was so competitive, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, music therapy, I can still use music, but I can help people. And it wasn't yet. And then what I thought was selling out was getting this job that really gave me the ability to help others in a way that I never expected.
Nice.
And because one man took a chance on me, my boss, and I always tell him that he was my angel. Like I've had so many, I call them angels, or I have a friend and I call him my knight in shining armor, like whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in. This person came to my life when I was down and out. Like I was struggling. My practice did okay in New Jersey. I moved down here, didn't have the connections. It was hard to get the clients I needed. Financially, it was hard. And I thought that I was failing at it because I wasn't making money. And I'm this many years old and I'm waiting tables to supplement my music therapy, and it wasn't where I wanted to be. And I still had a hard time helping others because I felt like I wasn't grounded. Like it was always I was stressed about it. And then this man, my boss, and it's weird to refer to your boss as your angel, but, like, I feel like he knows it's okay, I can say that on air. Because he took a chance on me. Here comes this girl who to a general contractor that employs engineers and project managers and superintendents. I'm really good at home repairs, but I know nothing about commercial construction. And he saw something in me and he gave me a chance. But that chance at this company who cares so much about others. And I like that about this company. They're one of the greenest contractors, certainly in the US. I don't know about in the world, but we try to be. Like they're very environmentally conscious. And we do have a wonderful charity division where we do so much outreach to all the neighborhoods where we're building buildings. And that meant something to me. And I think because here I am finally for the first time in my life, I'm getting a really nice paycheck. Like
Yeah.
I'm secure. I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to hustle to wait tables. Not that I didn't love waiting tables. It was fine, but it was a hustle. And it wasn't the consistency where I could just relax and focus on the things that really did matter to me, which was being available to others.
Yes. Amazing.
And so I think even though music therapy, and I can't technically call it music therapy that I do anymore because I let my license expire. So just in case anybody's listening, I'm put that disclaimer in.
Okay.
but
Fair.
but I still have music clients that I work with who are special needs, and I'm able to use what I've learned in the past from music therapy to work with these kids on the side. But now when I do it, I'm not worried as much about if it's going to pay my bills. I do it because I love it. And that
Yes.
gives you a different energy to attack it with.
Agreed. And I love the way that you say that. Yeah. I am operating from a place of security. So what I offer is not desperate, I think is a word that you used a little bit earlier. I was like, yeah, all I am now is just completely, I can focus on the benevolence of it. It doesn't have an undercurrent of anything other than just trying to do good and trying to put that into the world. And I love that. So many people, they think that they've done something quote unquote wrong or bad because they give up on a dream. It's like, well, what if that dream changes? Yeah, we all want to do X, but whenever you reach a certain different era in your life, that is no longer the real draw any longer. And you have to continue like checking in with yourself, like, okay, so is this still the thing? I've chased it for so long and I haven't really reached it. The desire isn't quite the same level as it was, and this over here seems to like really resonate with me a lot more closely to what I want to accomplish. So let me investigate that for a while. That's not giving up on your old dream. That's walking toward the new dream that seems to be like a better fit or a better opportunity to help. And I love the way that you put that. It's like, yeah, what you saw in the very close up, because you can't get any distance from something when it's happening right now. You have to be in it for a while, and then it sort of has to, like, grow into something that you can see a little bit farther back. That you had an opportunity to move into these positions where you can help and use this company who does want to do good, but doesn't necessarily have someone at the helm to steer it in that direction. And then here you come. And like, wow, that guy did a great job. Because here comes Mary, and she's ready to set the world on fire and make sure that everybody's going to, get what they need out of, what we can do for them. And I love that. That's so amazing.
I was gonna say, I think something that I learned too was, and I wish I'd learned this sooner, because I think there was a time, I'm just gonna say it because it's gonna slip out at some point. I'm gonna be like, "Oops, I just turned 40."
Okay.
And
You
and
look
that was a
fantastic.
big thank you. That was a big milestone for me, because my 30s were not great.
Okay.
I think I gave up on myself, and I
Okay.
lost a lot of confidence. And I think it was because so much of what I thought were my dreams and the things I needed to do were like all or nothing. So I wanted to be a performer. I didn't like the lifestyle. And so I moved on to music therapy, and I gave up. I closed the door on performing. I'm like, music is just to help people. That's what I do now. Like, I don't get on a stage. I had a church gig, but I felt like I was singing with the people. I wasn't singing for the people. And
Yes.
when I worked with my children in therapy, it was not about me. I wasn't singing to them. We were making music together.
Hmm.
And so I gave up on performing, but performing had been so much of my life. And even when I told my friends I'm giving up on performing to do music therapy, and I thought everybody would think, "Oh, she's a failure. She was the only girl to get out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. She goes to New York and she gives up." And I thought that's what my friends said, and they're like, "We don't care. That's not your identity. That's not who you are. Like, do what
Hmm.
makes you happy. Then we're happy. Cool." And so I think I took that too far, literally. Like, they didn't care if I did it or not.
Okay.
It didn't matter if I was a performer to anyone, and I thought that's who I was. So then I just stopped.
Yeah.
But it was a part of me, and it was something I did love, and I gave up a little bit, and I regret that I did. And then I started doing the music therapy, and other than keeping, a couple clients on the side, I kind of, I feel like I let that slide, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Amazing. Exactly that. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Your life's a buffet. You can take more of this, you can take less of that, and you can walk right by that other stuff. The gray stuff, they say it's delicious. I don't trust it. Fantastic. Yes, thank you. And the fact that now you are returning to performance is wonderful. And I love this because it's so nice to hear that someone changes a dream. And that's another thing. You can always go back. It's not that you burned that bridge. You just walked away from it from a time, but you know exactly where that is on your life's map. You can walk right back in there. So if you would tell us just a little bit more about that, because it's a new style, newer for you. I mean, you're definitely settling into it very well now. But I would love to hear more about how you've returned to performance. I'm sure our listeners would too. Just hey, you can always go back.
Well, I'm not gonna say you can walk right back in. It's not as easy as riding a bike.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Silly me, I thought it was. I thought it was. I'm like, it's so silly. I met a very good friend of mine, and we were talking in a bar, and I'd had a couple of drinks, and he was a musician. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I used to sing. I was a singer." And he's like, "Great. I meet singers all the time on my gigs. Like, let me know on Thursdays. I rotate. Like, you can come sing with me." And I'm like, "Cool." But it was 15 years ago. Classical and musical theater, and
Mhm.
he played more like R&B. And so I'm like, I tried to pick songs that sounded like him, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a singer. I could just hop back on this bike, right? I'm just gonna learn the words and go and sing the songs, and like, no big deal." Um, and the day of the performance came. I was gonna go sing this gig, and I told my friends all about it. I'm gonna sing at this amazing musician is letting me sit in and sing a couple songs and do this set. And I got so nervous. I had to take 2 of my dog's Xanax to leave the house.
Amazing.
I'm
Oh,
like, "I
and
can't get out of here." I was shaking, I
oh
got
my
there,
gosh.
I sang, and I was terrible. I was
Oh,
so bad.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it was it was it was not my best, and I'm glad
Mm.
that there are no videos of it on the internet that I know of.
Right.
But even in that and I'm a perfectionist, so it was very difficult for me to hear it back and go, "Ooh, god, that was awful." But the feeling that came back was like it had
Mhm.
opened it sparked something, and I did it. I was scared as hell, but
Uh-huh.
I took those 2 Xanax and I left the house and I put on my performer pants and I did it.
That's
And
amazing.
it made me so happy. And this
Exactly.
part of me that I had hid, that I was just like, "Well, if I can't be on Broadway, then I'm not gonna sing." Like, that doesn't make any sense, like, why? I don't know. But
Agree.
I
No.
think it was because that was the dream, and if the dream didn't happen, then I hadn't come up with another dream. Like, I didn't come up with
Mhm.
a replacement of what that looks like. I
Yep.
didn't think about that. I just moved on,
Oh,
cover
yeah.
it up. Like, this hurts for me to give up on this. I don't wanna feel that hurt of me giving up. I'm just gonna start a new dream and go.
Yes. Oh my
And I
gosh. And
didn't
I yeah.
process any of that.
Yeah.
And then I got the chance to sing, and it was like, poof,
Yeah.
and it felt so good, even though I was not good. Because
Oh,
all my friends that were there, and it was mainly just my friends that came out,
okay.
they loved it.
Yeah.
They saw how happy I was, and they were
Yes.
so proud of me. And I remember sending, like okay, there is a little video clip, but it's only in my family chat room on Facebook because I sent it to my parents.
Yeah.
And my father's response was, "A star has returned," or something to that extent. And it was
Bless
like,
him.
I thought it was the sweetest thing in the whole world.
Yeah.
And it felt good. And I was on stage with my friend and I was not good, but he didn't say, "Well, maybe you shouldn't do that." Like he was like, "Hmm, so you might need some practice."
Exactly. Yes.
and I did, but I
Yeah.
didn't give up.
Right.
And that was something I wasn't willing to let go of this time because I
Oh,
found that
nice.
spark and I found that passion. And yeah, I stunk and I knew I wasn't good. I wasn't what I used to be and I certainly couldn't sing jazz or R&B, but I wanted to. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, how do I do this? What do I need to do? What are the steps? Okay,
Yep.
maybe I need to get some lessons. Maybe if I'm singing a different style of music, I need to learn this style better. I'm going to get a teacher. I'm going to get a mentor. I'm going to work with a band. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And every week I'm going to go and I'm going to sing in front of people. There are so many jams in Atlanta. And
Yeah.
so I would get up on stage and I would suck each time. I would get up there and be bad, but the next time I'd be a little bit better.
Right.
And all the people in the community were so supportive of it because they're like, "Hey, you care about this. You're working. We'll
Yes.
help you."
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Like nobody tried to beat me down and say, "What are you doing coming back to this at 40?" Everybody's like, "Wow, that's super brave.
Yeah.
Like, could we help?"
Uh,
And I was so overwhelmed by the love that people showed me and the willingness of people in this community to bring me along with them and let me play.
yes.
And now I don't suck. You know,
Good.
I've worked really hard. I am booking my own gigs and I'm
Nice.
playing with some top-notch musicians and I could definitely be better.
Okay.
But each time I am. And all along the way I've told some of my friends and my teacher, I'm like, "Don't let me give up on this."
Nice.
Like I need that every once in a while if I get up and I sing and I don't do a good job and I feel a little crappy about it, make me come back next week.
Yeah.
I don't want to give up anymore.
Oh, Mary. Yeah. That's fantastic. So many beautiful things in that. Oof. I went and the only person in this entire equation that's giving me any trouble is me. Everyone else around me is supporting me, lifting me up because it's not about the music for everyone else necessarily. Yeah, they want to hear something nice. They want to see you have a good time. It's the happiness that you have that they love to watch until you get your feet under you to get into the proficiency that you want to share with them as an artist. Fantastic. That's still beautiful to watch and inspiring. It's wonderful to see. Number 2, accountability. Hey, this is something I enjoy. I'm not where I want to be with it right now, but I'm taking steps with lessons and practice, rehearsals, etc., and gigs to continue getting better. Don't let me give up on myself. You've shown me that you are supportive of me. I'm going to tell you how you're going to be the most effective in supporting me. This is how. Please don't let me give up on this. Amazing. So many great things to take away from everything that you just said. Like, yeah, that. You got back to it. You got on that bicycle after 15 years of letting it sit in the garage. And no, you're not going to be Lance Armstrong right out the gate. You will grow into Lance Armstrong. And the fact that you were, I guess, is brave the right word about talking to people who have shown that they want to encourage you along your journey? Say, okay, great. Thank you for showing me that. This is what I feel I need. Please support me this way. There's nothing wrong in guiding folks who love you and want to support you in how to do that most effectively. People think, well, that's a little presumptuous. I was like, I don't think so at all. If they support you and they want to see you do well, and they're kind of sort of close to the mark, but they're not bullseye, tell them. These are people in your life that love you and want to see you succeed. Sweet. The way to do that most effectively for me and the way that I work is by doing this. And here they come. That's amazing, Mary. God, I love that for you.
Well, and I think the thing that's really helpful when you find these people who are willing to support you is people who aren't afraid to give you constructive criticism, but they're able to do it in a way with that has kindness behind it.
Yes.
You know, and there are s- there's this one person in my life, and he's not afraid to tell me the truth. And I think I've become more receptive to it. Before, me being a perfectionist, I saw any little thing that could have been improved upon as a flaw. Like, I didn't do this right. Oh no, I wasn't very good. Somebody saw that I wasn't good at it. And that was devastating for me because I want everybody to think that I'm like I've got my stuff together and she's like perfect. And I'm like, you know what? But I'm not. But I want to be better. And how are you going to get better?
Yep.
And if somebody has the gumption to tell you something that can help you and they're doing it from a place of love,
Yep.
wow. I haven't had a lot of people like that in my life because I let everybody think that I'm so perfect. And so people are afraid to, like, well, she doesn't need this from me. Like, she's got her stuff together.
Yep. Yep.
And the people who've really helped me haven't been afraid to, you know, rouse the bear a little bit and like, or poke the bear. Is that what they call it here?
I kind of like rouse it. I
Be
was
like,
like, oh, rouse that bear. Yeah.
yeah, it does. It riles me up. But just their willingness to help and my ability to accept it.
Yeah.
I try to be so independent. It's been hard to accept help because I want
Yes.
to do everything by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this.
Yep.
I moved to the States by myself, all by myself. I did this and I got a job and I started a private practice and I bought a house and I got a dog and blah, blah, blah. And I do this all by myself.
Yes.
And as soon as I started letting people help me, it was so much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got better so much quicker and I want to be better.
Yeah.
But you also have to be approachable enough to like let people help you.
Right. Because you put out that vibe. I get on board with this really hard because I am also, I try to be really self-sufficient and independent and this kind of thing. And I'm just like, well, if I can't get somebody to go with me, I'll go by myself. Meh. And it puts out a front. It
Mhm.
and I get used to doing all these things by myself whenever if I just let others in, it would be so much, like you said, more enjoyable and it would all happen much faster if I just let people help because people do. Genuinely, I think that's just human nature. They see something that you're not struggling with, but you could do better if you had a little help from someone with more experience, and they would love to help you. They also know how independent you are and they don't want to offend or hurt your feelings or any of those other kind of things. So they just sort of like watch from a safe distance, hoping that you'll ask. And I I want to be better about that. And I love that you're like, hey, once I did this, everything started coming together for me. Brutal honesty has no place. Kind honesty, direct honesty, constructive. Those are the adjectives I want to pair with honesty to make sure that we're all like leveling up in the way. Not that it needed any kind of extra. I'm just like, thank you for saying that so beautifully. Yeah. Once I finally stopped worrying about being perfect and started worrying about doing better, is whenever I started letting other people in and I started really noticing the change. It's like, yeah, that's a lesson I need to hear. So thank you. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm still working on
Eh,
it.
Great. I would hope so. That's me. I never say that I'm wiser. I always try to say that I'm less stupid today than I was last year. It's like, great. That's it. Because that's all I can ask for. I just want to keep working toward it. And
Well, the funny thing is too is we're helpers, right? You and I
yeah,
we wanna help.
yeah.
So why is it when somebody tries to help us, like, we push them away? Like,
Why are you
and I
reading my
have a
mail
friend
right
too
now?
that's that's hard to he's like, I don't need anything." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you would do this for me, so why can't I do this for you?" And but I have to reflect that back on myself, right?
Yeah.
Is that I try so hard to be the helper to other people. I deserve it just as much as they do, the help,
Yeah.
and it's so nice, and it makes those bonds with your friends closer too if they feel like they can help you. I know how good it makes me feel when I'm able to help other people.
Yes.
Why don't I give that grace to somebody else? And I learn more, and the job gets done faster, and I have more fun doing it. Why do I have to be so darn independent?
I am so
So
uncomfortable right now.
I'm working.
In the
I
best
am.
way
I'm
possible.
just
You're
just being
working?
able to say yes. I'm working on being able to say yes and accept the help when it
Yeah.
comes. And
Oh my goodness.
with gratitude and joy that somebody cares about me enough to help me. Why would I push that away? I did for a long time, and I regret it. That is, like, one of my biggest regrets that these people came in, and I'm like, "I got this." Like, "Stay away. Let me do
Yeah.
it myself," and that's a really lonely place to be.
Mm. Wow. I have to look up at the ceiling now so nothing drips down my face. Thank you for saying that. So, yeah. Yeah. I get hollered at regularly for situations like that. And you're right. We want to do so much and we just for whatever reason, I never think about reflecting that back at myself. Why am I so stingy with that with other people who want to offer me some help? Wow. Yeah. Thank you for saying that so well. Yep. Well, we're learning today on Radical Joy, friends. That's the story. Oh my goodness. Now, another thing too. Whenever you got on the road to learning your jazz and your R&B to a more proficient level,
Oh,
you
let's be clear here. There is no R&B happening. I'm not that cool yet.
yet. I like that we're doing
I
this in.
moved on from that. My friend that gave me the chance, I am completely like, I understand that there is a different lane. Like, I love his music,
Right.
and I tried to do it a second time, and he was like, still not the best. Maybe you should do something else."
Amazing.
And I'm like, okay, if this isn't the right song choice, what fits? Jazz. Jazz seemed like a safer bet crossing over from classical and musical theater. So jazz. Jazz is my lane right now. Cabaret. I've got a guy we're working on cabaret style. That's where I fit for now. Not to
Absolutely.
say that I don't love the R&B in Atlanta. Maybe
Yes.
one day I'll be cool enough to get there. Maybe when I'm 50.
Hey, you know what? We'll hit milestones. Exactly. We'll hit that one later. Oh
Anyway,
my god.
sorry, I probably distracted you. I just
No,
wanted to
no.
clarify in case anybody's listening to this and they're like, "Mary doesn't sing R&B." You're right. You are right.
Doesn't mean I
But if
can't.
if
Right.
anybody but opening myself up to helpers, if anybody thinks they can teach this little Saskatoon prairie girl how to sing R&B and be cool, please hit me up. You can find me at
Amazing.
Canadian Mary Catherine on Instagram. DM me.
There it is, and I would love to offer that she absolutely is cool. Like, I would love to see Mary's brand of cool be applied to R&B, just to see how that works both ways, both on
No,
R&B and on Mary.
no,
Oh.
Oh,
Friends, that was just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to hear more of Mary and James's conversation, tune in next week for the conclusion of this episode.
The bottom line is, use your words, friends. Thank you for joining us again in this moment of radical joy. If this is your first time, we're so happy you're here. Take a moment to check out our archive, see if there's something else that fires you up, rekindles the joy in you. And hey, spread the word if you enjoyed it. We welcome reviews and messages. Let me know what you want to talk about. I rarely run out of things to say. So if there's something on your mind or heart, I want to hear from you. Don't forget, there is no shame in joy. I am not a therapist or a medical professional. If you're experiencing a mental health emergency, please call 911. This content and other content produced by CLW Studios and affiliated partners is not therapy, and nothing in this content indicates a therapeutic relationship. Any opinions of guests on this podcast are their own and do not represent the opinions of James or CLW Studios. Please consult with your therapist or seek one in your area if you're experiencing mental health symptoms. Anything in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Learn more about James and CLW Studios. Follow the link in the show notes. Don't forget to leave a review, and hey, we'll send you a sticker. Just send a screenshot and let us know where you want it sent. Have a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday for another dose of radical joy. Love y'all.